Yes, it's Sam Maganda again. It's a big salute to the comrades out there who have been fighting hard for the struggle and move forward to this. Salute to those who have come out to stand up for our different posts. Indeed, those are the heroes we need our country to be, the great heroes who will never be forgotten. The breeze and the power of the late that brought this far will win through his powers and areas. Yensonga lwaki bangi muffe tetwasobola kusuubiza sinakindi okumanya lukyanga kino kyetukola ku lw'eggwanga Uganda. Bubadde buvumu n'amaanyi ago ag'abajaasi abazze bakola ekyo kiweesa ekitiibwa ekyanjawulo nnyo. A big salute to those who have stood for the struggle till now. We shall cherish you and always will be remembered. Si kusigala kusigaza ku bisenge kokka naye ebiseera byonna era emmeeme y'oyo omujaasi ngamba we foot soldier abandi be bayita afuutu kigere mukola kya ttendo era tutagisibwa okuba nti twekubira salute bwe tusiŋŋaana. Naawe ali eyo respect a foot soldier for his dignity and that he does sacrifice for our country. Salute the comrades abo abali emitala w'amawanga abavaayo okwekalakaasa ku lw'embeera yonna for the good of us to be okay. Wewawo abandi balowooza nti gye bali baatuuka kitawe no. We are still in the struggle as you. We stand by your powers and olukumeme zaffe era nenkukulumira nnyo oyo alowooza nti gyali emitala w'amawanga yatuuka era muli alowooza nti alikka era atebenkedde kijjamu kuwa enkikwe ng'alaba munne afudde ng'addizibwa ku butaka ajja kulaba embeera gy'ayitamu kutuusa mayiti era emmeeme ye ejja kudda waka. Kimutwalira omwezi sinakindi emyezi ebiri nga omubiri gwe tegunnaddizibwa ku butaka. Abaffe eyo gye muli ewaffe naye ate eno gye tuli ffe ewaffe ddala kuba teri ateetaaga kumanya ggwanga lye weetambula. So nga ate ekisinga obukulu kiri nti we should always stand with them and cherish their powers they put in and time kubanga wabweru time is too big. Bafiirwa emirimu gyabwe ku lw'eggwanga lyaffe. Salute those heroes and a big salute to them. Kyova olaba nsazeewo okuba embawo ekitontome kino nga kyabwe era oluvannyuma I'll play their video when they are demonstrating on our behalf. Thank you. Mwebazira mwebakiri maanyi lwaki tubatende baganda baffe ne bannyinaffe abali emitala w'eggwanga lino nga kyebalwanirira n'okulubirwa kwabwe kwa gganga lyabwe okutereera. Ssanyu muyogoyoge era musaana kwanirizibwa na mizinga ku lw'ekyo ekitone kye mussaamu. Lwaki sibeebaza era nzaani tasobola kusiima ako akatono weewaawo ate nga kanene kuffe emitala gye tuli eyo ewaffe baganda baffe ne bannyinaffe. 10 2 bye mussa mu struggle olw'ensi yammwe etegeeza kinene. Tujja basanyukira nnyo nga mukomawo wano era nammwe mulisanyuka omu naffe nga mutuuse entebe. Giba mizira kuli bakaaba ngamba masanyu so nga ate ziri bambuutu atalina ngoma alikuba ebbaafu sinakindi atalina mulere alifuuwa eccupa. Tulijaganya tulitambula ku makubo ag'enjawulo weewaawo mabi si ge malungi naye tuliba tumanyi nti gakukolebwa kuba tuliba twenonodde. Twebaza ezo ofiisi ze musiŋŋaana emiryango gy'emukonkona bwe kanaku ku lw'eggwanga lyammwe Uganda weewaawo President w'eggwanga lino omulonde Kyagulanyi muzira nyate nammwe muli bazira nnyo kubanga mu butiti bwe muli asente akatono ako kimulwanira nga muli mu mpewo empitiivu musiŋŋaana ffeeza abantu abatali baggwanga lyammwe ne mubikumira ne mukakkana ne mwagala n'okwogera ku nnimi zammwe. Ggwanga Uganda lyandibadde lyenyumirizaamu nnyo ate kukulumira abo bakitawe abalowooza nti baatuuka eka so nga abandi bakuddizibwa okwabwobwe nga bali mu makeesi tebalimanya kiki baali bakola tebalimanya ennaku nabanyinaffe gye baayitamu. Nyaffe Uganda gwe maanyi gwe maama alera tekaseera oyanguyirize mu ntambula yaabwe n'ebyo bye bakola ngamba biruubirirwa ku lw'eggwanga Uganda obawe essanyu eritenganika nga badde okwabwobwe. Thank you very much. I request you to subscribe on Bobi Wine Generation TV. Meanwhile, subscribe, please, and share. Please comment where you see any mistake. And thank you for watching. So, let's go.
Kyekoze in Uganda.
Yes.
They don't function anymore under this brutal dictator of Uganda.
Yes.
We have no schools in Uganda.
Yes.
We have no roads in Uganda.
Yes.
Ugandans cannot afford even a £1 paracetamol.
Yes.
Under this brutal regime of M7 of Uganda.
Yes.
Ugandans cannot have
Yes.
a £1 meal a day because of the brutal dictator M7 of Uganda. Uganda is one of the richest countries in Africa, but Ugandans have been made poor. They go on days without eating even a single meal.
Yes.
M7 is supporting the M23 in DRC Congo for one simple reason: to rob the minerals of the Congolese people. The European Union and the international community has condemned Uganda by supporting M23, the lethal rebels in Congo, being supported by Uganda, and the United Nations report of last month confirmed that Uganda is behind the supporting of M23. We are here today to ask the European Union to stop the military aid they give to Uganda.
Yes.
To stop the training
Yes.
of Uganda military thugs, because when they go back to Uganda, they are going to rape our sisters and brothers. They are going to kidnap our brothers and sisters. They are murdering Ugandans. And Ugandans have got no political space under this brutal regime.
Yes.
We condemn in the strongest words why a civilized European Union should be supporting the brutal dictator of Uganda, M7.
Yes.
When we talk about democracy, it shouldn't happen only in Europe. Democracy should be all over the world. But we have countries like the European Union supporting democracy in Europe, but in Africa they are supporting dictators. And we call on the European Union to put sanctions against this brutal dictator M7 of Uganda and his family. This is a country which is being ruled by one family. It's only in Uganda you find the president is the dictator, M7. The wife of the dictator, she is the Minister of Education. The brother is the Minister for Finance. The son is the army commander. And all the relatives, they take on the first 100 positions in the so-called brutal regime of Uganda. People power.
Our power.
Ambassador is here. People power.
Our power.
Our power.
People power.
NUP.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
NUP.
We are here today, and I will keep stressing that word. We are standing in front of the European Union for the reason that they are still supporting the brutal dictator, the murderer, the rapist of Uganda by the name of Museveni. 40 years is more than enough. 40 years of the brutal dictator. Ugandans are tired and tired of this brutal dictator. Ugandans cannot afford to live under this brutal dictator. Ugandans are calling the European Union to stop the funding, the promoting of Museveni in Uganda. We want sanctions to happen as soon as possible.
As yesterday.
Museveni, he has served more than enough. In Europe, there is nowhere in Europe where you get a prime minister or a president who have served more than 20 years. But Ugandans have been living under this brutal regime for the last 40 years. If he hasn't built schools in the last 40 years, is he going to build schools tomorrow?
No.
Because he has got no interest of developing Uganda. Our neighboring countries like Tanzania and Kenya, they used to come behind Uganda. Now Uganda is languishing in the poorest statistics. When you look at Uganda, it's a dead end. I promise you, when you go to Uganda, you'll be the next candidate to die. Don't visit Uganda under this brutal dictator. People power.
Our power.
Our power.
People power.
NUP.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Good morning, Ugandans. We are the UK Ugandans living here and demonstrating against the bad regime and keep spoiling the regime. This is EU with 27 countries that could influence and change the politics in Uganda. We have had EU funding and sponsoring the junta for the last 40 years. A recent example, they did a census which cost more than a census in America and responded over $100 million for a census that was a forged census. A population can't be stagnant. It came out to be 47. Now, if you not, that is not enough. Uganda is like a monarchy. The dictator in Uganda has been in power for 40 years. Him and his family own everything from big president, vice president, to army general. They own every single building, roads and money and farms. His brother doubles as the central bank governor. His son is the army commander. The wife is the Minister for Education and Sports. She's never run even a meter, a distance of a meter. Yet, she is the Minister of Sports. That's the Uganda we have. As if it's not enough, when we came to power, we had district hospitals and referral hospitals. To date, most of what we see, what used to be referral district hospitals, are a former shadow of the hospitals. No sinks, no mortuaries, no doctors, no medicine. And when we tell EU, stop funding our pain, stop funding the stay of the dictator in power. You funded him all along, thinking he will change. He's not going to change. That's why we Ugandans from the UK chapter are protesting today at EU, knowing that you are the next biggest funder after USA. Stop funding the dictator, stop funding the pain, stop paying for our lives. Uganda is the only country where during COVID, more people died of gunshots than COVID. Mark this one. Uganda is the only country where we had more people dying of gunshots from the military than people dying of COVID. Uganda is the only country that has no public transport system similar to what used to be in Uganda. Uganda has no cooperatives. There is no unions, trade unions. He abolished them. Uganda, under this dictator, we had over 100 cooperatives, all dealing in various cash crops. Today, there is nothing. The latest saga is the coffee saga. The only functioning thing was coffee. Now he's taken on the coffee and he is going to steal every single penny from coffee. So that's the dictator we have. EU, we want you to get a rude awakening. This is the best time to intervene. We are not asking you money as the opposition of people who want to get rid of the dictator. We are asking the EU, the building behind us, to stop funding the dictator. We can take him on. We have the capacity. We have the human resource. We have the funds to make it worse. All the people you see here have the age. Time is still with them. The dictator doesn't have time. Only he has a watch on his hand. He's over 90 years old. And you still believe in a 90-year-old man to do anything sensible after 40 years in power? Now, if you don't know where Uganda is the center of Africa. It lies on the equator. And we've had a leader, a ruler, a junta, worse than Putin, failed in the 40 years. Then why do you keep funding him? It's worse than before 1986. And you still think you can fund him to kill more people and kill more people. So, EU, all we ask from you is to stop funding the dictator. Stop the programs. They are not helping the local man down to the ground. The people who should be benefiting from the funding and the EU grants are people who are disadvantaged. And these are the majority. And these are the young people. They don't benefit. All the money goes to the junta and his brother. Like I told you, his brother is the shadow governor of Uganda. The wife is the Minister of Education. I don't think she has a primary living certificate. She's the Minister of Sports, a woman who has never run 2 meters in her life. And the son is the naughty one, Kyekoze. He's the army commander. How can you have such a guy being an army commander? Be reminded, I met this guy in 1992 when he was in Nottingham University. 2 months later, he was kicked out. The university said, we have to let you go. You don't have any competence to stay in the university. I went on and became an engineer. And here I am, 30 years later. I see this junta junk of a boy making all these evil things. Who tells you he's a clever guy? If the university, Nottingham University, let him go. Let him go is a polite sense. They dismissed him from university in Nottingham. And you still think this is a man who can rule Uganda. The dad has never shown or displayed his certificate from Diaspora University. This is where we are dealing with people who don't engage and have any development in Uganda. The best intervention we want from you is to stop funding Uganda, because the junta there, who has been there for 40 years, has done more destruction than compared to what Idi Amin did to Uganda. If you thought Idi Amin was bad, okay, Museveni is 3 times bad. It's bad for the economy, bad for public service, bad for everything. Inequality is the first word in Uganda. All his tribesmen are in big positions, and the others are not anywhere. He is funding, he's killed all these cooperatives, and then relabels them, rebrands them as circles. What a Uganda we have. We don't have where people had an input in their development. No hospitals, no drugs. People barely have anything. The only thing we see on TV is passing out more army officers after army officers. We don't see him residing on passing out doctors, engineers. That is the Uganda we don't want. The reason that's why we have come to tell EU, stop funding. We are not on a begging trip. We are not. We are National Unity Platform. We are not begging. We are asking you to intervene by not funding the junta in Uganda. If you stop that, the rest will take him on. We know where to touch and hurt, and we are doing exactly that. It's taking us time. We are getting there. The dictator can see us in his wing mirrors. He can see us in his rear mirror. We are coming fast and quick. So, EU, stop funding the dictator. We are sick and tired. You are the next after USA. You provide over €1 billion every year, given all the 27 countries, the money they give to Uganda. You still fund our death. You still fund the prisoners. You still fund everything. In the last 10 years or 20 years, the junta has built more prisons than hospitals. What does this mean? He expects to have more prisoners than patients. That is a very bad sign. He's building more prisons after prisons. There isn't any hospitals. EU, wake up! Do we want more prisons or we want more hospitals? Do we want more educational institutions, colleges, primary schools, secondary schools? We want development. We want functioning institutions. We want a public service that's equal. You can't pay the chief executive of Kampala City Council 67 million and the driver 7 million, and then the permanent secretary gets 3 million. This is total inequality in public service. This is unbelievable. So why are we here? The emphasis is stop funding this silly dictator. We want you to stop this. If you stop this, we can take him on. Thank you for listening.
People power, our power. Listen to this. Only this week, the European Union has given the brutal dictator 80 million. You know the reason why? That because the European Union harvests cocoa seeds from Uganda. By funding this brutal dictator, you are funding our rape. You are funding us being tortured. You are arming the brutal dictator to murder us. You are funding our suffering. So you are conniving with the brutal dictator in making Ugandans suffer more than we are suffering. It's only in Uganda that a Ugandan cannot afford a £1 paracetamol. It's only in Uganda that Ugandans during this brutal regime of Museveni, we cannot afford a £1 meal. People power.
Our power.
Our power.
People power.
But you can see that even the poorest in the UK and in Europe, they can be given something to eat. You can have a sandwich. That sandwich, madam, you are having can feed 4 families in Uganda. But right now, Ugandans are starving because the European Union is funding, supporting the brutal dictator of Uganda. You still up to now send tear gas to Uganda, which is making Ugandans go blind because they are sending tear gas. This is real, that Ugandans are blind because of expired tear gas.